The Falling Stars by Zephyr Brewster. Chapter 1, Los Angeles. The stars look amazing at this time of night. I'm just glad they're visible from out here. Almost every night when I'm not working, I drive out here with my son to get away from the city. It's relaxing to be able to count something that doesn't involve finances or scheduling or data in general. I've been working in that office building for 7 straight years. 7 straight years of just sitting there wishing I was doing more, but instead wasting away my life for a job I don't even enjoy. I just type and type and type, stare at a screen for 12 hours, and then go home to sleep just to wake up to do it again. I guess it's not really as bad as it sounds. I'm not one to be discontent with what I have, especially knowing how bad it could be. I'm just glad I can provide for my family and have time to spend with them on the side. As I'm looking up at the stars, something catches my eye. A streak of light across the sky. I say to my son, "Hey Jason, did you see that?" He says,
"Sure did. You make a wish?"
Jason is already 17, it's crazy. He's done good in school, played a couple sports even, and now he's on his last year. He hasn't had a girlfriend yet, which is something I dread, but his question rings in my mind again, so I say in return, "Yup, what about you?" It was the same wish I've always made, and it wasn't too far off from Jason's.
Same as always. Wish for a long, happy life.
A long and happy life with my family is what I wish for. He's still young, but one day he'll have a family of his own. Letting him out there alone in the world scares me, but I know he'll do just fine. I remember back when I never wanted anything to do with children. Having a kid was the worst scenario to me because it was going to be stressful, confusing, a financial struggle, and terrifying. But Emily, she changed my mind completely. I fell in love with her, and immediately, whatever she wanted was what I wanted. Because of that, we got married and had Jason. As we're laying down here watching the stars, we laugh and talk for a little while about the things I went through as a kid growing up and all my struggles, which I'm sure is absolutely boring him to death. Still, I remember being so free as a kid. It was a pleasant time. My wife Emily, I met her 36 years ago. I was only 14, and crazy enough I met her doing about the same thing I'm doing right now. I was in the park laying on a bench and just watching the stars. I was well aware that I wasn't supposed to be there at night on my own, but I was a kid and didn't care. Neither did she apparently. We both made it a habit of just coming out to watch the stars together. Time went by, and we got to know each other more. We went from strangers to friends, friends to best friends to dating, and dating to married over the course of 13 years. 6 years later, we found ourselves financially stable enough to have Jason. And here we are now, one big happy city family. I may complain quite a bit, but it doesn't mean I don't find my life with my family to be nothing short of perfect. As long as I'm with them, I'm happy. I see another shooting star, but it does something weird. I see the initial huge white streak across the sky, but when it stops, it almost looked as if a new light appeared at the end of the streak. I know my eyes were just messing with me, but I swear there was not a star or light there before. I ignored it for a moment. But suddenly, a dreadful chill washes over me when I see it happen again. Not just once, but hundreds, maybe even thousands of times. Flash after flash, they just start raining across the sky. It looks like the earth is being showered in millions of them. Lights are popping up as far as I can see in all directions, and I look over at Jason to make sure I'm not losing my mind. Honestly, I'm not sure if I should be thankful or not that he's also looking up at the sky in horrific confusion. Not a sound can be heard during this frightening display. Nothing other than the wind and nature. I lay my hand on his shoulder and shake him a bit before saying, "Hey, why don't we head home to Mom, make sure she's all right?" He nods and doesn't say a word as he slides off the side of the car and steps around to get in. I follow his movements, but I get out my phone to call Emily. I sit down, turn the keys, and the car hums to life. I turn around in the dead-end dirt road, making my way back into Los Angeles. Emily picks up the phone as I'm driving, and I speak first, saying, "Hey hun, are you all right?" It takes a moment for her to answer, before she says nervously,
"Baby, have you seen the sky? I was just about to call you. They're saying the sky just filled with a bunch of strange glowing objects. This is happening all over the world. They're surrounding the whole planet just outside the atmosphere."
I can hear the distress in her voice, and I say calmly, "Yes, I'm with Jason right now, and we saw the whole thing. I've never seen anything like this before. It looks like a meteor shower times 1,000. I don't know what it is, but we're on our way home right now." I suddenly panic when I see the city come into view, and a sudden bright streak of white light shoots down into the city, followed shortly by a large ball of orange light and a collapsing building. Jason freaks out next to me, saying,
Oh my God! It just knocked over a freaking building! What the heck is going on?
Him freaking out only makes me stress out even more. The signal cuts out on my phone and I begin to get more frustrated than scared. I try and speak to Emily again, saying, Hello? Babe, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Emily! I throw the phone down in frustration and say, Freaking cheap piece of crap, I swear. Jason looks over at me, worried, asking,
Dad, do you know what's going on?
I answer in a firm and serious tone. No, I don't, son, but it's nothing good. We need to get home right now. Put your belt on quick and try to hold on. The second I hear his belt click, I floor the pedal and take off, not caring anymore about traffic laws. I have my own belt on already. I'm a pretty good driver, so it isn't too hard to avoid the calm night traffic. Not that it's exactly calm on a night like this. The engine roars as I speed down the highway towards the city, seeing many speeding cars and law enforcement vehicles as I pass them by, the police ignoring the chaos of everyone speeding around them. I slam my horn occasionally to let people know I'm coming through, and as we're traveling down the road, I already see a few wrecked or abandoned vehicles as we fly down the highway, slowing the car a decent ways before we reach our turnoff. Hitting the off-ramp, I make my way downtown, and I can feel the vibrations of distant explosions. I say calmly still, we're almost there. When we get home, we're gonna get Mom and make our way to the other house, all right? Jason says.
All right, just don't wreck us on the way there.
It takes another minute to get to our apartment that's luckily still intact, thank God. I park along the street, and as I get out, I hear a low, deep rumble, accompanied by a hard shake of the ground, and look up to see them begin shooting down even faster. It's like the earth is vibrating from the impacts from these things. It's almost enough to make me stagger as I try to walk. I don't know what's happening, but it's causing fatal destruction everywhere, and that's a good enough excuse for me to get us the heck out of here. I open the door and Jason follows me in. I make my way past the front desk, and everything is just quiet. No one is walking through the halls at all, as if the entire building is just abandoned. I run down the hallway while Jason sprints after me, finding the stairwell so I can head up to the third floor. I jog down the hallway to the final door where our room is and throw open the door to see Emily on the couch jump like she was startled.
Jesus, Draven, you scared the crap out of me. God, I'm just so glad you're both home, though. I was terrified about you two being out there.
As she talks, she gets up and hurries over to me, hugging me tightly before pulling Jason into the mix. I do my best to remain calm for them and say to her, Babe, we need to go right now. It's not safe here anymore. Whatever those things are, they're now slamming into the ground, causing massive explosions, and only God knows why, but I'm not taking chances of our apartment being the next landing zone for a group of whatever they are. I look at Jason, stumbling a bit with them both as a loud explosion occurs somewhere just outside, the force of the impact shaking and separating us. The blast was even enough to rock me off my feet as I land on the floor with a thud. I look around for a moment, a bit dazed as I see Jason on the ground too, some of our windows now shattered. That's crazy. Because I didn't even hear them break from how loud everything shook. I scramble up and help them both up as I start having them prepare. I quickly point to a box of old tools and junk on the kitchen table, and tell Jason, grab that box, dump everything out and start filling it with food. Nothing that needs refrigerated. Water too. Just whatever you can fit. Don't worry about closing the top. You can't lift it, then I will. He nods and does as I told him to do, and I look over at Emily and say, Babe, I need you to go grab the key from the safe and also grab a small bit of clothing. Just some pants and shirts and a bit of underwear, and while you're at it, grab a towel out of the bathroom, please. She looks at me, says softly,
I'm on it.
I can tell she's really shaken, so I follow her into our room. As I round the corner, I see her beginning to tear up, and my heart plummets. The loud but distant explosions don't faze me at all as I go to her and wrap my arms around her. She sobs a bit in my arms, and I just keep her held against my chest, running my hand repeatedly down her hair and backside as I begin to speak. Emily, baby, it's okay. I'm right here. I know you're scared, because I'm terrified, but we'll be okay. Just grab the clothes and key real quick and we can go straight to our other house in the desert. We have food and running water, electricity there, and a whole entire basement-sized panic room. We'll be safe there until people figure out what's going on. I feel her nod in my arms, and she says shakily,
I know, hun. I'm just scared for Jason, and I'm scared of what those things could be. I'm praying that they're just a bunch of meteorites or debris from some super rare freak space storm or something. I'm okay for now, though. Thank you.
She leans against me and I give her a comforting kiss on her lips, holding her tightly before we part. I smile at her softly before turning towards the closet, kneeling down and digging to the back left of it to find my gun case. I unlock it and bring out my firearm, securing it in the empty holster along my belt. I get up and make my way into the kitchen again to check on Jason. The key I'm having Emily get leads to a door in the basement of our vacation home. Behind that door is a very expensive panic room that can comfortably house us all. The house only holds non-perishable food and tons of water. I know it's just a vacation home, but I always felt that it would be smart to prep it for emergency use as well. Along with food and water, it also has a decent storage of ammunition and a couple rifles of mine. My only goal right now is to get them both over there safely. I find Jason in the kitchen, and he's actually doing okay. I see that he even went a little farther as to grab some flashlights, batteries for them, and even our first aid kit. I give him a hug to comfort him regardless, and Emily comes in with the clothes and towels. I sigh and say, I don't know what to expect out there, okay? We're gonna go to the house, and we're gonna board up and close every window. There's plenty of water stored there, along with plenty of food. We'll be okay once we get there. Let's go. I make my way downstairs, terrified, my only thought being protect my family. I can still hear the booms of impacts in the distance. Jason and Emily are following shortly behind. Jason runs past me to stuff the overloaded box of food into the trunk of the car. Emily does the same with another box of medical supplies and tools, and I take a second to look around at the people all around us, running and panicking, total chaos occurring all around as we continue to hear distant explosions. Jason sits down in the back of the car, Emily and I following shortly behind. I ask Emily, "You do have the key, right, Em?" She says.
Yes, it's right here. I won't lose it. Just drive.
I fire up the car and slam down on the pedal, keeping the car in reverse as I swing us around. I throw it into drive, and I start to head up north to the desert. As we head up the road, I keep glancing at the sky, noticing streak after streak slam down in different parts of the city, even downtown around us. I try my best to make it to the highway, dodging abandoned cars and other wrecked vehicles. I feel terrible, not stopping to help all these people. And I know Emily must be thinking the same. We pass different families, children, elderly, and we have enough room to fit at least 2 more. But I will not put my family at risk for others. As much as it kills me to not help any of these people, I just won't get them killed for the sake of 2 people I've never even spoke to. We get up to the more elevated part of town, getting ready to turn towards the highway when suddenly, a streak of light just barely flies across the hood of our car, leaving a bright glowing orange streak of molten metal across the painted body. The sudden flash startles me, and I slam the brakes on, my arm instinctively shielding Emily. Luckily, we don't hit anything, and everything seems to go by in slow motion before suddenly, silence. The car comes to a halt, and the only thing I can hear is the humming of the car, and the mechanical tone as the windows roll down. All the explosions have stopped, there's no more flashing streaks across the sky, and no more cars moving. Everyone around us, at least in close vicinity, is staring at that last streak of light that scraped our car. In the middle of the next intersection, there it is, a big floating metal pyramid, the base of it about as long as our car. The top of it stretches up to, maybe 15 or 20 feet. It was just a big metal pyramid, 5-sided, and it was floating, slowly rotating in the air. It looked like it was just freshly glossed over, like a brand new car that had just been through a powerful, expensive car wash. The color was pitch black, and it had very geometric green pulsing patterns all across the faces of it. It just looks so unrealistic. Like a movie, how it looks real, but you know it isn't. After a long, dreadful, silent minute, I hear a loud rumble behind us, and turn around just in time to catch my towering office building collapsing. It melts into the ground, a massive plume of smoke rising into the air. Seeing that, I'm taken back to the worst time for America, September 11th, 2001. The fall of the Twin Towers. I see fires everywhere and missing or demolished buildings. I see cars in the distance as they move around, trying to find safety from these machines. As much of a mesmerizing moment this is, I'm not sticking around to find out what these things are going to do. At least that's what I thought, when a sudden dreadful horror fills me. As I turned back around to drive away, I see a giant pitch-black shinning metal sphere float slowly across the top of my car, the massive metal ball, slowly rotating as it hovers inches above my hood. It's also covered with green glowing patterns, but they're smoother and more rounded. I realize I can also hear it. There's a deep rumbling tone, as if I could hear the machinery keeping itself off the ground, but mixed in with the sound is slightly quieter noises of what sounds like mechanical chittering and other strange noises coming from within. The deep vibrating rumble shakes my entire body. I've never felt so scared in my life, and I manage to get the words out. Don't move. I hear Jason go to say,
"Yeah, no shit."
and I say angrily, "Jason, shut up." He falls silent and I continue watching the huge orb slowly glide away from the car before coming to a sudden stop. It remains in that spot, floating and rotating, those green patterns pulsing and glowing with energy. I slowly look around and see more. Cubes, 3- and 4-sided pyramids, rectangular prisms, and much more. Shapes of all kinds, all of them with unique green patterns respective to their shapes, carefully floating in scattered areas. Los Angeles looked like an alien geometry classroom. I'm about to slam down on the pedal to get out of here when I hear the most alien sound I've ever heard blast through the air from behind, causing me to turn around to catch sight of a huge, quickly growing transparent dome-shaped shockwave flying towards us from the city. As it moves over us, what I expected to be the feeling of being slammed into turns out to be a slight static feeling, and I feel the hairs on my arms stand up, as if I had just been shocked. I suddenly realize my car shut off, and I try to start it back up. But not even a click can be heard, just the shaking of my keys. The whole city is dark, only to be lit up by the scattered fires, the true stars, green scattered lights, and the moon. I knew exactly what that was. An electromagnetic pulse. EMP. All electronics will be dead, at least for a while.
It's so quiet,
Whispers Emily. I say a little louder to them. All right, guys, let's just walk. We need to get away from these things while they're still inactive. I'm pretty sure that was an EMP, so no working phones or electronics. Follow me. I step out of the car, cautiously, motioning with my finger for them to wait while I check things out. That big freaking sphere is like 10 feet from the car, and as of right now, I have no clue what it's capable of. I make my way around to the back side of the car, opening the trunk with my car keys, and I grab the 9mm gun hidden under my shirt. I flick the safety off, ready to defend if necessary. I motion for Jason and Emily to get out of the car, and they do so, not bothering to close the doors. They creep around the back of the car, grab the boxes, and then start to quickly follow me. Everyone around us has their eyes on me, waiting to see what I might do with my gun. I see someone else with an AR rifle, and he nods at me to let me know he has my back. I motion at everyone around me, putting my hand up to wave them to go away, to get away from these things. Hey, if you all can hear me from here, get away from the shapes, whatever they are, but get to cover now. I try to speak up loud enough for the distant people to hear, and some start to listen to me, running or quickly speed walking away or going back inside. I keep my gun tilted down, the same as the other man holding the AR, fearing a possible conflict between myself and the big alien metal ball. I can just imagine aiming at it and a sudden blast of energy vaporizing me or some crap. I walk sideways, keeping my eyes on it, my gun pointed down but still in its general direction when it suddenly falls to the ground, as if whatever keeping it afloat suddenly died. The sudden loud metallic slam to the ground caused me to accidentally fire the gun into the ground, startling those around us, and I quickly pointed at the sphere. I start to walk faster, putting distance between myself and that thing, my wife and son following right behind me. "We need to leave now," I shout, and as I start to increase my pace to a sprint, I look ahead and see a big cube laying on the ground start to shift and open up, and I see 4 huge mechanical legs unfold. It transforms and unfolds its entire shape into some kind of 4-legged crawling tank. It has a big rectangular body, 4 massive legs with 2 joints, and a cylinder-shaped head on top with 2 red lights on top of each other. It has to be standing at least as tall as some of the small stores around here. A pretty large, what I'm going to assume is a gun, unfolds from the side of the cylinder head, and I watch with pure horror as it turns towards a couple down the street, confirming that thought. Without warning, it begins firing bright green streaks of bullets, like green glowing sabot rounds from a military plane. Their bodies are ripped apart by the bullets, leaving their entrails strewn about the building and sidewalk, followed by a quick fading red mist. I sprint to the left, looking back to see the sphere transform. I say transform, but it more or less melted into a pile of metal-bladed tubes, or a writhing mass of legs. I hear rapid gunfire, assuming it was the guy with the AR, and I shout to Emily and Jason, "Get in the alleyway!" watching them disappear between the buildings behind me. I look back, seeing that pyramid I saw earlier transform into something horrifying. It had a diamond-shaped body, 3 long flexible legs, and it didn't fire at anyone. It sprinted with unbelievable speed, leg over leg, twirling sideways as it launched itself and swung its legs at a man trying to flee, the legs smashing through his body, sending whatever it collided with flying through the air with another stomach-churning red mist. The man's remains falling to the ground. Chaos is unleashed at that very moment. I can hear distant gunfire, explosions, screaming. I aim my gun at the machine, knowing that even if I somehow connect, it won't matter. On top of that, it was already looking at me, so I knew I was dead, and the last thing I was going to do is lead it to my family. It readies itself, twitching sinisterly as if it's analyzing my every movement, and then begins charging at me. I scream, cursing this machine from hell in my mind while firing away. To my surprise, as it charges me, a couple bullets hit its legs, and I think it actually injured it. I see a black and green mist, almost like alien blood or oil, and the machine crumbles to the ground, rolling like a rag doll until it slams through the building wall next to me. I fall back, and as the dust clears, I see the machine's body twitching, and I step up closer to it, watching it trying to do anything it can to kill me. I suddenly feel an intense sharp pain shoot up my leg, and I fall back, screaming as what feels like fire courses through my veins. I don't understand what's happening. Did it do something to me? The fire inside me quickly fades away, and I gasp as I scramble up to my feet. I pant and run back up to this thing, and I fire a shot straight into the red lights on the head. The machine shuts down, hearing a deep alien humming sound begin to fade, and a trail of this strange glowing green and black pulsing liquid pours out until it fades to solid black. I notice that I'm standing in a puddle of it that had already leaked out. A little bit of the liquid I'm touching has a bit of a green glow to it, but once I step back and shake it off, it fades. What the heck did that freaking thing do to me? It doesn't matter, because I'm still standing. I sprint behind myself to where Emily and Jason went. I open the door, and see them cowering in what appears to be a clothes store. I get down with them, panting. I quickly say, "Guys, I just killed one of them. The aliens, they're able to be killed with guns. Oh my God, As I'm speaking, I look over at a loud sound I heard to see a massive mechanical leg smash through the wall, the building crumbling down around it to reveal a huge cubed robot, the one I saw before. I aim my gun at the turret and fire away, emptying what was left of the gun. To my sadness, they ricocheted, not leaving a scratch. The turret twitches to my left, and I realize it's about to fire at Emily and Jason. Before any bullets leave the turret, I see sparks begin flying all over the place, the massive cube-like machine toppling over, that strange green and black liquid spraying everywhere until the machine crashes to the ground. I realize that must have been a military plane, because I can hear the distant roar of the engines once it went by. I look over at Emily and Jason, seeing that they're still okay. "Oh my God, okay, guys, just leave the boxes. We need to move right freaking now." I quickly reload my gun and put it back in my holster. I wait for Emily and Jason to get to where they can follow me, and I begin to search for a restaurant. I spot a nearby restaurant, Kyle's Cafeteria, and I check around us. I don't see any of the alien machines in sight. All I can hear is explosions, jets, and distant gunfire. I motion my hand behind me at them to move quick, running towards the restaurant. A military jet zips overhead with a deafening roar, followed by a barrage of those green alien bullets. I see the jet twist up into the air, as if it suddenly stalled, falling back down and spraying some buildings behind us. I see a machine go tumbling over into the road, green fluid spraying out of it before turning solid black. The jet flies off and we continue sprinting towards the building. We get to the door, spotting some people inside. I open it up and get Emily and Jason through the doors, and as soon as we enter, I see a man point a gun at us. I quickly step in and aim my own right back at him. He yells at us.
Get out of here. We don't have enough food for everyone. Find somewhere.
Out of anger, I shout back. No. You have 3 seconds to drop that gun or I will fire. I have a wife and child to protect. He keeps on talking and threatening me. I count quickly because I am dead serious. 1, 2, 3. The second I finish saying 3, I fire a round and it hits his arm, blood splattering against the wall. He drops the gun and yells out in pain, and everyone gasps or jumps at the sudden burst of my gun. No one dared to challenge me after that, and even Emily and Jason looked shocked. I yell at them all. What's the matter with you people? We're in a world-ending apocalypse and all you can say to me is, we don't have enough for everyone. You disgust me. You should be saving lives, not casting them out. I can feel a strange tingling sensation in my chest when my anger shot out. I don't usually get angry like that, but I guess it flows far more freely when someone threatens my family. I ease up my stance, lowering my gun and say, Emily, Jason, go into the kitchen. Now. They don't say a word, but simply do as I say. I keep my gun ready and walk over to the man I shot in the arm. It didn't do much damage. It grazed his arm instead of going through it. The blood on the wall was merely a sprinkle. I reach down and pick up his gun. While doing so, I look at him and he still looks surprised, watching me with fear. I suddenly notice that he's an officer because he has a law enforcement badge hooked on the side of his pants. I say with irritation, "Protect and serve, huh? I didn't think that only applied to yourself or the few people you choose. A real police officer would protect everyone." I put the safety on and tuck his gun in my pants, keeping mine out. I make my way into the kitchen, seeing Emily and Jason sitting on a couple step stools. I sigh and drop to the floor, sitting down and resting back against a freezer. I sigh heavily and say, "My God, what is happening? The world just exploded. No warning, no preparation, they just showed up and went to town." Emily looks at me and says,
Draven, we can't stay here. We need to get to the house. Your guns won't be enough to protect us from those things. Maybe a few of them. But what if we run into one of those bigger ones again?
She's right. I killed one easily, but the other just shrugged the bullets off as if they were flecks of snow. All this time I keep hearing distant thunderous explosions. The ground keeps rumbling. There's no emergency shelters for alien invasions around here, or anywhere. I don't think there's even natural disaster shelters here, not that I've ever bothered checking. Out of nowhere, I hear flickering and electronic buzzing as the restaurant comes back to life. Moments later, all of our phones start buzzing and blaring with an emergency message. Everyone go indoors and stay inside at all costs. Anyone outside is to seek shelter immediately. It says that about 5 more times. I understand why when I hear and feel a shockwave from a massive explosion in the distance. Just as fast as the power had come back on, it shut off. I look over at the doorway, and I can just see massive clear shockwaves erupting over the sky. I hear a sudden blast of noise as it knocks everyone over, and I realize they're firing nuclear weapons. I go to the door looking up at the sky and listening. I see streaks of light flying up to the air at incredible speed, but man-made ones. Nuclear missiles. Each one travels up beyond the clouds for very long distances, probably out of the atmosphere. Occasionally a shockwave will slam into the ground, and I can see strange lights appearing across the entire sky, clouds being pushed down and distorted by the force of so many blasts. They're beautiful, weapons so powerful and destructive, creating such beautiful acts of nature. I start seeing debris falling from the sky as well. Somehow, what they're doing is working. I see machines crashing into the ground in pieces, some whole still, but overall, a lot of them are destroyed beyond recognition. I can see much smaller streaks of light in the sky beyond the clouds. Must be different debris burning up on entry. I walk back to the dining room and see a TV, picking up the remote from the counter, and I go to turn it on, but I realize the power is still out. Frustrated, I just set it back down and make my way over to a booth. I hear Emily and Jason come over to sit with me. I look around and I see everyone kind of keeping to themselves, but some were still watching me curiously. Then, I see them all begin to start looking my way. Everyone, literally everyone, staring directly at me, and it confuses me. I say out loud, why are you all looking at me? I notice that Emily and Jason are looking at me with curious eyes as well, and Emily finally speaks out.
Baby, you're glowing yellow. Look at your arms.
I look down, and I jump from being startled, panicking as I see bright yellow glowing light under my skin. I can't see veins or anything else, like as if literally everything inside my arm is emitting light. I feel so much fear inside me right now. Is this what happened when my body was flooded with pain? The more I scare myself because of this alien glow, the brighter it gets. I suddenly feel a tight squeezing in my chest, followed by dizziness, and I start groaning as I stumble. I hear people talking to me, but I can't make sense of any of it right now. It's all just muffled and distorted. I stumble out the doors of the restaurant, and I collapse in the road. I pant and gasp for air, shaking as I feel that tight sensation start tingling. It begins slowly spreading through my body, as if my skin is falling asleep from the center of my chest out. I scream out in shock as I see this black metal substance start creeping out from my shirt, and everyone who is watching me looks shocked as well. I scramble to my feet, trying to shake or brush it off with no success. The creeping metal substance gets to my wrists, and I can see my hands starting to morph disturbingly into this big four-fingered claw. The 3 fingers have 3 joints like a human hand, but the fingers are like, well, claws so sharp and menacing plus a similar thumb. I can feel the metal crawling down my waist to my legs, and finally it stops in my feet, but it isn't finished. My shoes erupt, and I see these metal boot-like appendages, what appears to be my feet now. The metal creeps up my neck, and I start breathing faster with panic as I feel my face changing shape, my whole head. The tingling finally stops, and my senses fully return to me, but everything is heightened now. I look down at my body and hands. I see smooth and wavy glowing lines of yellow pulsing on the metal, decoratively. It's just like the designs on the machines, but they're just smooth flowing. Everything I can see is just different. It's so unreal. I can see a display in my vision, almost like I sometimes see in my son's video games. Everything is in English, too. I see displays of temperature, atmosphere conditions, terrain conditions, and some situational awareness stuff. I look down at my hands and feet, and everything feels just normal. I don't feel tired or hungry. I actually feel fantastic. I can feel myself calming down now, and I look back around. I see different pings in my vision, but they're in the distance. The display is 3D in some ways. I just see different pings, and there's so many of them. They all have number tags, but no words or letters. I keep looking around my display, and there's just so much, but somehow I understand it all. It's like life has always been this way. I know how to navigate it all. I can control it all with my thoughts. I don't have enough time to take it all in, however, because I realize what those pings are, as one is now floating towards me down the street. I motion for the others to get back, waving my hand as the large cube slowly hovers towards me. I say, "Guys, get back inside. One of those things is coming towards us." The others begin slowly shuffling back inside, and I look back over at the cube. I've seen a rectangular prism machine transform, but not a cube. The squared designs on the sides keep pulsing green, and when it gets maybe 50 feet from me, it lets off a deep, low pulse. A visible burst of air pushes away from it on all sides. It stops drifting towards me, and I can feel my body begin to move on its own. It changes stance, and it's like I'm about to punch the machine. What is happening to me right now? I can see different displays popping up, analyzing the machine. I see things like cytosine energy levels and threat levels, and while it's all going by so quick, I can just see and understand it all instantly. My body is telling me that this machine is within my level of strength, classified as a low threat level. I keep an eye on the machine still, and I see it begin to shift and change shape. The cube's form is immediately like the sphere's. Nothing but bladed appendages connected to a center mass, but this time, the legs aren't just loosely flailing about. They're actually firmer and have joints. I see a menacing red dot of light in the middle of the mass of bladed legs. The ends of the legs have these big claws that dig into the asphalt and concrete, or anything else it grabs onto. I can count at least 10 legs, all sticking out evenly, almost like the four-legged tank. The color of it all is just black, barely broken up by the different green glowing marks that are now scattered randomly about the machine. I can hear different sounds coming from it, different noises of communication like grunts and chitters, and every now and then it twitches violently. This thing is purely evil, in appearance and in motive. A spinning bullet from the barrel of a gun. It's as if time slows, for I can see all the debris that was ripped up from the ground with the force of the lifting claws, and in great detail too, what I expect to be pain or numbness from being broken apart and murdered by this machine from hell, turned into my body moving with faster movement than anything I've ever experienced in my life. I just watch as the machine flies through the air, slowly spinning like a bullet, and I can see a slight distortion behind it. As my body dodged to the right, I watch as the machine finally plows into the ground where I was just standing, leaving a trench of destruction as the legs quickly snap forward, digging through the asphalt. My legs plant firmly on the ground, and all I can really do is watch as this alien body works its magic. To express just how fast this is happening, I look over and see those debris that were launched into the air finally start hitting the ground. I snap my head back over and keep my eyes on the machine as my arm comes up, and I see my hand and most of my forearm begin to change shape, morphing mechanically into some kind of weapon. It doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before, but I'd have to say it resembles a sniper or assault rifle. Whatever it is, it looks powerful. I see the yellow glowing designs around the weapon begin to brighten, accompanied by a slow-growing electrical pulsing tone. And in a flash, I feel what I think is my hand squeeze into a fist on its own, and it fires off a round with a deep electronic-sounding pulse. I watch the bullet shred through the machine. It stumbles back from me, and I see a hole of molten metal dripping from the inside, green and black fluid pouring out before the machine starts shaking violently, and then falls to the ground motionless. My arm morphs back to the alien hand, and I quickly look around at all the other pings. There are thousands of them, but none of them are advancing my way. It's as if I regain control of my body a few seconds later, because I'm now just looking around on my own. I walk over to the dead machine, carefully examining the metal. I lay my hand down on it, and it almost feels as smooth as glass. It shines like a freshly painted car. I see the marks where those designs were, but they no longer glow green, they're just faded black like a dead phone screen. The red eye is about the size of a baseball, but it too is now blackened. The arms look so deadly, powerful, obviously meant to be able to kill things much stronger than humans. They look built for the excavation and total destruction of every material it could run into, and for these things to be able to transform and morph into flat, smooth, flawless shapes is incredible. These things are far more advanced than we can imagine, even if conventional weaponry can kill them at times. I look around again, snapping back to reality as I quickly check for any nearby pings, and I run towards Kyle's restaurant, opening the door and slamming it behind me, accidentally shattering the glass of the door out into the street. My entry startles everyone, but I don't pay any attention as I stumble a bit and fall down on my butt, backing myself against the wall, panic setting in once again as I look around at everyone who's looking at me. I don't move. I just simply try my best to gather my thoughts. I am a freaking alien robot right now. Everyone is just frozen with fear and confusion, and I don't blame them. I mean, I'm a freaking alien robot. What the heck is happening to me? I look over at Emily and Jason, and they don't actually seem quite as scared as the others. Emily finally says,
Draven, are you okay?
My breathing is absolutely calm and smooth, no panic to it, even though I feel terrified. I go to speak, but the new foreign sound to my own voice startles me for a second before I continue. I say, I'm okay. I feel great physically, terrified emotionally. Whatever this is, I cannot begin to explain. I just killed one of those machines. My body just moved faster than I can comprehend. It moved for me. I look at my hands, my 4 menacing claws shimmering in the nightlight from the moon beaming through the doors, as does the rest of my body that makes contact with it. The rest of the restaurant is dark, barely illuminated by the moonlight. My energy also illuminates the immediate areas around me with yellow. I squeeze my hands together, and it feels so normal. I run my fingers over my arms, and I can feel it all as if it were my skin. I bring my hands up to my head, which is the most alien of all. I have a narrow face, a somewhat square and narrow face like an animal's muzzle, but from my nose, I can run my fingers up my face past my eyes to the top of my head without hitting a single bump. My head has a huge flap in the back, and from the edge it runs down to my neck. I slightly open my lips, feeling my teeth, and I'm shocked that I have such anatomy as a robotic machine. I can feel razor-sharp bladed teeth, fangs, and a metal tongue with no fluid or wetness to it, yet it can still move like a muscle. I can't guess what my eyes look like, but then I realize this place has a restroom, perhaps with a mirror. I quickly get up and walk past everyone, ignoring the slight gasps as I push the door open, finding a mirror, and I stumble back a bit at my appearance. What the what? It's one thing to guess my appearance on touch, but another to see it with my own eyes. I look at this unrealistic sight. My eyes are black with yellow glowing irises, but the pupils are slits, like a reptile. My head is long and narrow like a snake, and my mouth really does look like a muzzle. I look at myself, and I look like some kind of reptilian alien warrior, but this doesn't look like it was designed. It all looks natural, unless the aliens who made this are just very, very meticulous. Then again, I can't say I was born with a cybernetic mind like they probably were, but this is all just so fascinating and terrifying at the same time. I look at myself in the mirror for a few more moments before stepping away, making my way back into the dining room. Everyone is talking amongst themselves, although they quiet down just a little when I slowly walk through. I stop in the middle and look around, but not at the people. I'm looking at all the pings to see if there's any that stick out. Emily asks,
Babe, what are you looking at?
I answer her loud enough for everyone to hear and say I know it sounds weird, but I can see where all the machines are. I can see a bunch of different pings, 3D pings in the distance through the walls. My sight, it's like a video game display almost, but I can see every single machine that's out there, or I believe that's all of them. I'm just looking around for any that stand out or seem different, but they're all the same. I stop looking around, not seeing anything different or unusual, not that any of this is usual. I don't take the time to sit down, but instead I get an idea. I look around at everyone. I see at most 7 people, not including Emily and Jason, so 10 of us altogether. I say out loud, "Hey everyone, I need your attention. I'm gonna try and get us to safety. I can see where all of these machines are at all times, and for what looks like miles away. My family owns a vacation house that was reserved for emergency, in case we ever went to war, or for any kind of major national emergency. It's filled with weapons, tools, utilities, and a ton of non-perishable food. Enough food to last 3 people 2 or 3 years. I mean, we can go out and find more, and extend what we have now with rationing, but it's an idea. It's better than staying here. It's a decently sized house, so there's plenty of room for us all. If you're all wanting to give it a try, I'll do my best to get you there. It's just a few miles from—" I stop talking as my body suddenly shifts defensively, and my arm morphs back into that sniper-like weapon. Everyone watches me with confusion and fear as I turn around automatically, facing up towards the sky. I finally see a ping that's different from all the others. All the other pings are in the shape of a small diamond, but this ping is in the shape of a triangle, and I think it's something that's entering the atmosphere. It's so far away. I don't have a distance read on it, but I can still see it beginning to fall down through the clouds as I step outside. I see a faint orange light, which must be heat from entry, but it's suddenly followed by a big burst of green light, and it streaks down into the ground. I hear a distant explosion, followed by a slight vibration through the ground beneath me. I can't begin to guess what that was, but I don't like it. I turn back towards the door and say there's been a slight change of plans. Something powerful just entered the Earth's atmosphere. It just landed in the middle of the city at crazy speed. Whatever it is, I think it's here for me. I need you all to stay in here, but stay away from the doors at all times, okay? Please. Stay away from the doors. Do not get within eyesight of those machines. I believe they rely on eyesight. Otherwise, they'd be coming straight for us all. I'm gonna go investigate. If I don't come back, I want—" Emily interrupts me and says,
Draven, no! You're not going anywhere. You're not gonna go get yourself killed just because you happen to have some weird alien power.
She leaves Jason in the booth for a moment and quickly walks over and pulls me inside by the shoulders before wrapping her arms around my metallic body. She goes on saying,
Listen to me, Draven. You are not leaving. I refuse to lose you.
She lays her head against my chest, and I sigh and wrap my arms around her, being careful to be as gentle as possible. She starts tearing up, and her voice becomes shaky as she goes on.
Draven, babe, please? I don't care what's out there. Just stay here and see if it goes away. I don't want you to die. Even if you're able to turn into them, you don't know what you're doing yet. You don't know anything about this strange alien power. What if that thing that just came here is one of the aliens themselves? What if it could kill you with ease? Don't take that risk, Draven. Please? I love you.
I hug her in comfort, closing my eyes and shutting out the world as I let her cry. I carefully stroke my hands down her hair and run my other hand along her backside. I can't feel my own heartbeat, probably because I don't have a heart in this form. I'm sure I don't have anything with life inside me, but somehow, I still feel warm. I still feel a squeeze in my chest, as if my heart was melting at her touch. And I can still feel the love welling inside me as I hug Emily. I rest my head on hers, gently squeezing tighter, and I lean back, looking into her sorrowful eyes. As strange as this metallic alien form is, I can still manage to move and feel like a human. I lean closer to her and give her one final kiss. I don't understand how, but it still feels just as beautiful. I can feel our lips giving slightly together, and that squeeze in my chest begins to turn into a tingling chill. I close my eyes as we kiss, but it doesn't last, because a sudden bright glow catches my attention. I stop kissing Emily, and we release each other, stepping back as I look down to see a bright yellow glow around me. It's just slowly getting brighter, and I look over to see that new ping starting to fly into the air and slowly approach us. I sigh heavily and say I can't stay, it's coming this way. I look over at Emily, then at Jason and the rest of the group, and I say, stay strong, guys. If I'm not back in 1 hour, then assume I didn't make it. I'm sorry I can't help you guys, so I'll give you a couple tips on how to survive. From the information in my head, from this new alien form, I know that these machines do indeed rely on sight. They rely on thermal vision, meaning your body heat. To avoid them, make sure to cover yourselves with anything you can, and stick to colder areas. They can't see far, maybe as far as from here to the building across the street. They do not rely on sound either, only sight. I hope that helps you. If you somehow manage to escape the sight of one of them, it should go away, or at least revert back to hunting mode. I see Jason make his way over to me and Emily, hugging her from the side, and I step up to them, wrapping my arms around them both. I sigh deeply, and I try my best to stay strong emotionally. I don't understand how emotions work when I'm a cybernetic alien, but they're still here. They're strong, and I need to keep them in check. I see the ping starting to approach faster, and I release Emily and Jason, smiling as best as I can. I say, I'm proud of you both, and I love you both so much. Please, I turn and face everyone now, speaking up. Stay strong for each other. We're in a new world now, and in this world, the last thing we need is violence towards each other, or hatred. There's no more laws, no more morals, no more civilization. It's just us and them. Take care of each other, help each other grow, and stick together to stay alive. I'm confident you can do it. I know you all can. With those final words, I turn and walk through the doorway. I turn back around, and I look into Emily's eyes. I see a tear fall down her face, and seeing that, I swear for just a second I felt a slight burn under one of my eyes, as if a tear had just fallen down my face. I say loudly, goodbye, Emily. Goodbye, Jason. I love you both. You'll be okay. Good luck. And I turn back towards the ping. It's a few miles away still, very high in the air, as if it's unsure of where I am exactly, which is good, I suppose. I don't know how to get up to it, though. I have no idea how to make myself fly like that, so I just start running. My speed is pretty normal for any adult human. I'm not using any alien speed. But I remember that powerful tingling in my chest, and the bright glow of the light around me. I try to see if I can trigger that again, and sure enough, I can feel a slight tingling in my chest. My pace begins to quicken, and suddenly, I take off sprinting, but at incredible speed. As if I was a parkour specialist, my body begins somewhat moving on its own, leaping over cars with acrobatic skill, weaving through the streets as I make my way towards the coast. My goal is to lead whatever it is away from the others, to keep them from being spotted. I find an immediate problem as I'm quickly approaching a section of buildings, and to my surprise, my body runs straight towards a house. I watch the world around me as I dive through a glass window, rolling forwards as I sprint down a hallway. Before the glass of the first window even finishes falling, my body is blasting through a wall, my shoulders slamming through it with ease as if it were merely drywall. My body then darts down a hill, and I reach the coast, stopping short of the ocean waves. The moon is beautiful, and strangely enough, So are the different machines that are ominously floating around me, ignoring me entirely. I feel like I should be paying them attention, but my attention focuses more on the ping that's still a few miles away, and I see it begin to move towards my direction. It picks up pace, and I can tell it found me. Whatever it is, it's coming straight for me. I stand my ground, waiting for it to arrive, ready for whatever monster is trying to find me, and then I'm blinded by a bright, vibrant purple flash right before me. There's a deep rumbling pulse followed by a bright flash, and then I see a man? A purple, transparent man. His body is just light. I stand my ground, confused as he has no ping, and it's as if he's not even there, for nothing in my display indicates his presence. He just stares at me, and then in a blur he's suddenly face to face with me, and I can hear the hum of some kind of energy. I just feel evil radiating off of this being, whatever it is. His eyes are just white, purely white, glowing with bright energy. I can see his surface, giving off energy like solar flares off the sun, or flames flickering off into the air. Everything is purple but his eyes, and he speaks in a deep, sinister tone, giving me chills. With a voice that sounds like Satan himself, he says,
"Will live in the horizon."
And I see his hand come up onto my chest. I feel a sudden burst of pain throughout my entire body instantaneously, and I'm sent back to when I first touched that alien liquid. It just feels like he lit my body on fire, as if my insides were just melting away into fire. I fall to the ground, screaming, feeling the pain physically moving like a snake through my veins, or whatever tubes that reside in this alien body. I can feel them all, burning, melting, and I can't help but roll and scream at the top of my lungs. In a few moments, the pain just suddenly stops. My vision is slightly blurry, but I quickly get back up to my feet, and I look around. He's just gone. It's as if he never existed. I'm still panting while I recover, and then I look up at the ping that was approaching me, and I see it's within a mile of me now. I stumble a little, but I ready my arm, feeling it morph into that alien rifle. I stagger a bit and aim it up at the ping, and suddenly the ping vanishes. However, I can see the physical thing, whatever it is, coming this way. I see a distant green glow, and it suddenly shoots downward towards the beach. It slams down with a great impact, sending sand up into the air like a tornado, blinding me entirely. But my body doesn't budge. My eyes are fixed on a certain spot, unable to look away as the sand falls down, revealing something terrifying. I see what looks like an exact copy of me, but with deep green flowing designs covering his body. A shade of green much deeper than the machines. Green as grass or even darker. His eyes are just black, with green pulsing irises. Again, an exact copy of me. And he looks at me and wastes no time as he begins to speak.
"You're not the one I was expecting."
He frowns noticeably, as if he's disappointed, and says,
"I don't like these surprise discoveries from false calculations. What is your name?"
I answer him calmly and say, "My name is Draven." "Why?" he says.
"Draven, this is disappointing. Either way, you must die."
I feel anger welling up in me, and I stand defensively, aiming my arm at him still. I'm shocked he speaks English, but I don't really care about that right now. What I care about is defending my family and everyone else as best as I can. My display locks onto him, and I can tell what it's trying to tell me. It's warning me to run away, for his strength is far beyond my capacity. I knew it. I don't have a chance. This is where I die. Still, if I'm gonna die here, then I'm gonna die fighting. I won't let this alien have a chance at the human race without having to give it his all. I let my body do its thing, and I can see a yellow glow around me begin to glow brighter. I sigh and focus entirely on this alien, charging my weapon. He just stands there and crosses his arms as he waits patiently, and I give him what he wants. I aim the gun right at his neck, not his head, not his chest, but his neck. All this bullet has to do is tear through, and it's over. I hear that deep, powerful electronic pulse, and I watch as the bullet of energy leaves the chamber, as if time slows. I watch the distortion of air and I begin to think. I think of Emily, meeting her in that park. I think of getting to know her, falling in love with her, having Jason. I think of all the love and happiness I experienced with them. Even if I don't get to live a full life, I lived one full of love, full of joy, one that I appreciated greatly. I love them so much, and right now, if I'm going to die, all I want to think about is them. All I want is to think about the love and joy. I watch the bullet collide with his neck, for he didn't even try to move. It just simply ricochets off to the side, exploding into the ground. I lower my gun, letting it revert back to my hand, and I raise them defensively as I see him get ready to attack. I just give in, and let my body have its way, feeling it analyze him as the machine analyzed me. This is it. Here is where I die. I love you, Jason. I love you, Emily. My sweet angel. All I hope is that you both survive and live safely as best as you can. Please, God, keep them safe. I mumble out a desperate prayer, knowing that I'm about to go talk to him in person, and with that, the alien warrior leaps at me. All I do is brace for it. Goodbye, my family.
This is the end of Chapter 1. I hope you're enjoying yourself. If you're interested in this story, then stick around, because Chapter 2, First Contact, will be coming up next. Thank you for your time. If you're on YouTube, consider subscribing, because the whole book is on the way. If you're on Facebook, consider sharing this around and showing others this awesome journey that I'm releasing for free. Also follow me so I can get to 100 followers, which will help me live stream to you all for fun. Thank you again for your time, and have a great day.